Good afternoon, everyone. Uh, Good to have all of you here. And Yasir, this frame actually is, uh,
Better, is it?
much. What should I say? This
I mean, we are
it's
so
really
sorry
much
for
nicer
the
than, yeah,
technical thing. Yeah.
much nicer than having to see you on two different screens, and then Zoom has its own algorithm. It could actually place both of you in two different corners of the screen also. So it's good that you are both
Right, right, right.
here together. Welcome to the Legacy of
We
Leadership.
are we are audible, right, Apurva? We are audible, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Both of you
Yeah.
are audible.
Great,
Very clear.
great, great.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to put the context, those of us who have been attending regularly, we already know what Legacy of Leadership stands for. If For those who have logged in for the first time, this is a series, a knowledge series that we have started hosting on the Zoom platform since January. This is the fourth month and the fourth episode in the series. This is where we actually uh, invite speakers or interviewees who have demonstrated through their business ventures the legacy of leadership in years to come. There are values of business which are really timeless in nature, and continually practicing these values is what gives businesses their position of leadership in their own right. So that's how the name Legacy of Leadership was inspired, and we thought of giving the same to the series. Today's guests, we have Mr. Sultan Mohideen and his son Yasir. Sultan sir is a graduate in chemistry, 1979, from the University of Madras, and uh, i- after that, his a chance visit to Sri Lanka. Sir, you don't mind me saying all this, right? Otherwise, I don't want to
Sure,
take the
sure,
thunder
go
away
ahead.
from. I
Sure.
don't want to steal the thunder away from. You could probably
Yeah,
say
please go
your
ahead,
experience.
Apurva.
Yeah, so
Please.
I will say some, all of this very quickly. A chance visit to Sri Lanka is something which kindled his interest in gemology, gemstones, all of that, and he happened to also know about GIA. In those days it used to be in Santa Monica, California. So in 1984, he managed to earn his graduate gemologist diploma from GIA. 1983 and 1982, sorry, 1982, he earned his GG from GIA. And 1983, he quickly followed it up with FGA from London. And 1986, he set up his own business in Chennai. In 2007, he was joined by 2007. Yasir completed his GG, and he joined IGC, which is a 100-year-old company based out of Belgium, which specializes in high-end stars and stones. And he worked with them for almost 6 years until 2013, and thereafter he joined his dad's business 2014. So without you know revealing much details, it would be really nicer to hear it from both of them in their tete-a-tete with each other, and also through the stories that they have to share with us. I'll now turn it over to Shiv for taking us through this wonderful journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Apurva, for the
Thank you.
intro.
Sure. Uh,
Excellent. Thank you so much, sir, for that introduction. And first of all, welcome, Sultan sir, welcome Yasir to the fourth edition of Legacy of Leadership. And thank you all, everyone who's listening in, for joining in today to hear what will hopefully be a very, very interesting, engaging, and an insightful session today. We generally do this in a question and answer format. I have some questions prepared for the both of them, and we will hear some amazing stories, hopefully. And so, my first question in that is to Sultan sir. Um, we heard from the beautiful introduction that Apurva sir gave, um, and we did kind of find a little bit about your inspiration, but we would want to learn more. So, what inspired you to start your own jewelry business? And we would also want to know what were the challenges that you faced when you first started out, being a first generation, jeweler?
This journey was started in 1980s, and you know that those days this entire jewelry business was a family-run business, with almost all the information being a closely guarded secret. So breaking this and getting into the field of gems and jewelry was a real tough task. And of course, this graduate gemology helped me in getting into that, gaining the confidence. It is not just gaining the confidence of the consumers, but also the fellow jewelers, because it's all about networking. When you are into a new business, you need customers to buy your jewelry, but at the same time, you also need to know the people who are going to be a part of your whole business chain. So you need to know your suppliers, your manufacturers, the gem cutters. So you need to know your subject, and you need to know a lot about that to gain confidence. And also, this is a field where you need to have the confidence to handle through the supply chain. So for which you need a professional knowledge. And this was my first challenge. And I overcome this with the knowledge I gained from a very professional program like GG. So this was my first step towards a successful career for my future.
That's great. Sir, could you also talk a little bit more about the trip to Sri Lanka, which Apurva sir talked about, and how did it spark that interest about gemstones?
Shiv, I completed my chemistry graduation in 79, but during the last 2 years of my graduation, my only destination, holiday destination, was the nearest point was Sri Lanka. And I had a lot of friends there who were doing gem business, mining and marketing, trading gems. So a few trips during the 1970s and 80s was really an eye-opener for me. And also it gave me an insight, something into this business. So I was traveling through the mining operations in Ratnapura and Elahara, which was supposed to be the finest sources of sapphires and other precious stones of Sri Lanka. So during these visits, I was traveling with my close relative and an uncle who was a leading gem merchant. And I was able to see the journey of a gemstone, right from the mining to cutting and then trading in Colombo. So this fascinated me. And one thing I saw was the whole chain of business was without any scientific knowledge. It was just a knowledge given by their elders. So they were buying and selling without any scientific knowledge. And those were the days when there was not proper education, gemological education available anywhere, particularly in this part of the world. So I was amazed seeing how people just buy a gem with a basic idea and getting it cut and then trading the same after a few days. So I saw this journey and I felt that, yes, it is an excellent line, amazing line to enter, but I also felt that there was a need for a professional education so that I can succeed. Being a first generation entrepreneur, I didn't have that advantage of somebody guiding me or something in the field. So I felt that from there on, I should take up an education, a sound education in gemology, if at all I have to build a big business future for my career.
That's amazing. Who would have thought how a trip to Sri Lanka or the frequent trips to Sri Lanka and finishing the gemstones could have led you down this path? Yasir, next question is to you. So what inspired you to take over the family business? And again, if you can also talk a little bit about how you have built upon the legacy that your father spoke of.
Shiv, the thing is, I never had a inclination of my initial days, adolescent ages. I never had an inclination to join the family business. Though we had a nice platform, it was 15 years, after he had created this things. But I don't remember him conversing with me, asking if, whether, listen, do you want to take up the family business? I don't ever remember having that conversation with him. So I was a science student. I graduated in biotechnology. Because back in 2006, the entire boom was happening, the biotech boom was happening. And, I was riding the wave because I was a science student, physics, chemistry, biology. So what had happened was during my college years, probably he had his own way of, bringing me into the fold. So he used to take me along with him to all the jewelry shows. Back then, the number one show was Hong Kong, right? 2006. There were not many shows happening. International shows, Hong Kong, probably Vegas was happening, and who would say no to an international trip, right? Being a student. So I just used to accompany him, right? Without any basic thing of happening. But being there, being among the world global leaders, I literally saw the best there, be it a gemstone. I was just looking at this really nice shiny piece of rock, which was, probably millions of dollars of worth, but it really was tempting, right? The whole atmosphere, the boots, the fancy boots and everything, it was very tempting. And also during one such visit, I happened to accompany him to an GIS alumni get-together, where the entire fraternity was there. His professors were there, in fact, and the whole interaction and the way these guys connected, everything was something very nice for me. So that's one of those few visits that I decided that, let me pursue gemology, right? I mean, it seemed interesting. And then, of course, the obvious choice was GIA because, having the, he has been there. So the obvious choice was GIA. Having gone there, it was something that came in natural for me because I was looking at cells and organisms in the microscope, and now I'm looking at inclusions and treatments. So it was something that came in very thing, and I took to the subject very quickly, right? Because I was able to match the interests that both the fields that we're going. Because I think I had a concern where whether will I like it, whether whichever thing, but thankfully my science background came of help, to think. So I kind of really love the subject. And of course, having come back, with that knowledge, I stayed back, having done jewelry design and manufacturing also. I did my applied jewelry arts also there. So it was a complete package that I had when I returned. And initial stages, I mean, coming back to family business, there's always a challenge, right? Because to live up to the whole name, because he had his own set of clientele and, all these clients, they've seen me playing around as a kid. The initial challenge was to win their goodwill, the first few years I remember was just to stand and observe, what's happening, the way things are being taken. And of course, my work experience in IGC group also helped quite a bit in applying, few of the changes that we've done in our business setup. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, actually, Yasir. So, can you talk a little bit more about your stint with IGC and how it has helped you in your role today?
Yeah. So my thing was not to immediately join the family business. I wanted to put up my price a bit before. So when I came back, I was looking at opportunities, right? Just a short stint, probably a 6-month stint where I wanted to be out and, not be within the family protected environment. So I chanced upon IGC Group. We've had a couple of small business connections with them, and one of the director was here. So I told them I was listen, I'm freshly graduated from GIA. Can I? I needed an opportunity. So fine, we'll give you an internship. Come over with a visit visa, for a month. Probably you can hang around our office and see what's happening. So because those days, being a site holder, they were 100-year-old site holder, and they were manufacturers of stones. So, and these guys needed GIA graders where, to prepare stones to be sent to GIA for certification, just to assort and think. So I was doing that for them, and my 1 month got over. I was supposed to come back, And to my surprise, they offered me a contract, which is probably unheard of for let's call it, I mean, see, usually for skilled laborers, right? Like for an engineer or something like that, it's very natural. And European work permit is very difficult. And I was really overwhelmed to, get a contract from them for a proper full-time job. And without batting an eyelid, I accepted it. And Dad was also happy, because getting an opportunity to work in such an environment.
We'll come back to that. How happy he was.
So
Please continue.
I was there for so I was there for 2 years. And then, of course, at the back of my head, there is always the thing of, listen, I have to come back to the family business. So eventually, I had to let them know. But again, they helped me back. They said, listen, you're going back to India. We don't have an India presence. They had offices in New York, Hong Kong, and Antwerp. We'll set up an Indian office, and you take care of it. So I was like, okay, this sounds great. So I got back. I was still with them. We had a separate office in Chennai and Bombay. So I was shuttling from 2 years in Antwerp, became about almost 3 years. Probably I was somewhere getting too comfortable, or probably I was somewhere getting too guilty of, overstaying my thing here. And eventually 2014, I made the move to, join the family business. Yeah.
Interesting. So that's it. Taking cues from whatever Yasir just spoke about, I mean, just your perspective on, you saw Yasir was gaining all this work experience. What was going through your mind during those 5-6 years? I mean, here you have this family business, and Yasir is working away somewhere else. What was going through your mind? How did you keep your calm and patience for those years?
Shiv, during these 6 years, one was my personal relationship with the heads of IGC, because we had a business relationship. These were people who were manufacturing very high quality cut diamonds. And this was what is needed in the Chennai market, because Chennai consumes one of the finest diamonds. So I already had a good relationship with them. So quite frequently I had the opportunity to meet, talk to these people, interact with them, and get a feedback like how Yasir was performing, and they were all very happy. So that was very positive for me. And then, of course, having worked for 3 years, I was getting feedback from Yasir that the nature of work he was doing there and the professional touch and approach which he was getting. So I was very happy, because any day when he gets back, he's going to apply that in our business too. And then when he was moving to Mumbai, it was one step closer to us. And then finally, he moved to Chennai. And then I thought, yes, the final destination is getting arrived. So I was just thinking it was a matter of a few months or a year. And then it really happened that he got back to our family business. And of course, still we have a very good relationship with IGC, and once in a while we meet them. And so it was a good win-win relationship with Yasir, myself, and the people at IGC. Even now, Yasir is in touch with them, and it was a wonderful opportunity for him to learn and also apply it in his new format here with us in the family business.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so this is a very special question that I wanted to ask both of you. So if you could maybe share one, or okay, let me play around a little bit. Not one, maybe a couple memorable moments from your entire career. And I'm sure, sir, you will have to be very, very judicious in picking those 1 or 2 moments, because there might have been many. And even Yasir, from your very enriching experience that you've had, if you could share maybe a few moments in your life that you really hold very close to your heart. And this is a question for both of you. So,
Shiv, for me, there were many moments in my life. I call them as milestones. But I will rate the first 2 milestones as most memorable, because they were a part of my academic career, which gave me the platform on which I'm riding today. I'm traveling today. So those two moments were purely from my academic side. One was, of course, my first educational background with gemology was at the gemstone training school, artisan training school at Jaipur. And that was 1980. That was the year, it was the year of inception. And this was a school initiated by Gem and Jewellery Export Promotion Council of India. And it was purely a gem cutting program. And I'm again from a non-gem and jewelry background. I ranked first. And I was awarded by the then Commerce Minister of India, Shri Pranab Mukherjee. That was one of the finest moments for me. And the second was, of course, my GG. My diamond program, my colorstone program, and the GG. I taught my class. So, you know, the practice in GIA, the same day after you graduate from the GG program, after the exam, the same day you have the graduation where they know the certificates. So that evening, I was walking out, and my wish was to get this certificate from Sir T. Richard Liddycoat. So when I was walking out, he was kind of, because at the GA Santa Monica headquarters, the classrooms were in the ground floor, and his office was in the first floor. So he was climbing down the stairs. I ran down to him. I said, "Sir, I want to take a photograph with you with my GG certificate, and I want to have it from you." He walked back to his cabin, and I had a photographer who was doing some photography work on the aisle of the GIA lobby. So I took him back there, and I had the honor of receiving the certificate from this legend of gemology, modern day gemology. So these are the only great moments of my life, which I have to cherish it throughout my life.
Shiv, I think you're seeing the photo along with Mr. Richard T. Liddycoat. Ironically, I had to afford to only take a photo along with the statue when I went, because GIA has a life-sized statue of Mr. Richard T. Liddycoat. I was not too aware of who the gentleman is, right? And then I sent Dad this photograph. Listen, there's a very famous gemology, and as I received my certificate from him. I was like, wow. So that's me along with the statue of Richard Liddycoat, and that's my instructor, Mr. Abba from the Carlsbad campus. So you can see the generation gap, right, between
Yeah, but of course there is the generation gap, but it's also beautifully connected, right?
Yeah.
You both shared, you both stood in the presence of Mr. Liddycoat in some way.
Yeah. Shiv, one more special moment that I would like to add here was, see, we have a museum where Dad's collection of over 25 years of we have about more than 1,000 specimens of different type of gemstones. It is purely a non-commercial setup that we have for education purpose, where people can just walk in and see. So I've seen this, having his collection grow from over the years, and when we display it, it's there because you've seen it. But when you get accredited by someone of very high caliber, so we had an opportunity where the then governor of India, right, RBI governor, Mr. Raghuram Rajan, he had visited us, and he was mighty impressed with our collection, and he had some really nice things to say. That was probably our very special moment of him visiting our museum and giving his few feedback about his thing. I think Dad would like to talk a few things about.
Yes, please.
It was a great moment because these 500 plus specimens, gems, were collected during my 30 years of career. Some during my show visits, some during the mining operations, which I visited and did consultancy for various institutions. So my idea behind this museum was inspired not from Smithsonian, but from the foyer of GIA, the Santa Monica one.
Wow.
And then later, when I visited the new campus during Yasir's education, the GG program in 2007, the new campus, that was my first visit to the new campus. So the wide range of gemstones on display on the foyer, this was my inspiration. So when I got back, I thought I should start a small museum of its kind and give it back. This was time for me to give it back to the society, make people understand gems and know about this fascinating field of gems. So this is exactly the idea behind me developing this museum. And even today, we get visitors from IIT Chennai, Department of Applied Geology from the university, and many more interesting people. The other day, a gentleman was keen to see my museum. And just during the visit to the museum, I came to know that this gentleman was a retired bureaucrat, having served as the personal officer to Shri Atal Vajpayee sir, our former prime minister. So he was immensely impressed. So this is the kind of people we get to see in our museum, and this is what inspires me and feels me great being a part of this whole journey of gemology.
That's such an amazing thought. And I would just like to mention when you said, this is your way of kind of giving back. That's such a beautiful gesture when, over these decades you have collected these wonderful stones, and so that's there for display without any commercial angle to it. That's very beautiful, sir. I would certainly hope that I do get a chance to come visit the museum one day. And I'm sure
Most
many
welcome,
of
most
our
welcome, Ashif.
and I'm
And
sure
to
many
all
of us.
our GIA fraternity, the alumni.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. I have now a very serious question to ask. Okay. Just kidding. So, over these years that you both have worked together, right? I'm sure there would have been difference of opinions. I'm confident. Maybe a little bit arrogant, but I'm confident that there would have been. So I want to ask both of you. Um, were there one? I hope. I hope for the sake of this question, there were some difference of opinions. But how did you? How did you get to resolve any sort of conflict of opinions that may have arisen?
If you ask me, I have a very simple principle and policy. Just agree to disagree. This is exactly. And also, I always believe that at some point of time, you have to, apart from teaching, you have to learn too. Changes happen. Previously it was decades. No, I will not call it decades. Every year or maybe every month changes happen. So I will not say that the old should give way to the young. I will not agree with that. I would rather say old should learn to live with the young to keep themselves young. And that's exactly what I do.
Beautiful.
Shiv, I'll tell you what. I mean, I think it's something common in every family-run business, right? When there's an interaction between the two generations happening. See, the one thing that I find is the customer, right? When they interact with me, even over these years, when they talk to me, the minute the sale is almost done, but the minute dad walks by or something like that, they always stop and they want his opinion. I'm like, listen, I've like spoken with you like for almost 30 minutes, and then you want his opinion. I'm just looking at him in my corner eyes. Listen, I hope you give the same information that I have given them. So pretty much there are moments like those where we tend to I won't call it as feeling nervous or something. I just sometimes hope that he conveys the same information that I have shared with my customers. Because that's, and most 90% of the time we are on the same page. If not, we have a private conversation in our cabin once a customer. So that's kind of how we do. So this has happened quite a few times, and I'm kind of used to it now, because eventually, every day is a learning thing, and the customer also, they tend to want both the new
Yeah.
feedback and the traditional thing as well. So yeah.
That's great. I think in this thing, in those 90% of the cases, and I'm sure it would be more, the customer is the ultimate beneficiary, where they get the expert opinion of two gemologists, two experts who have a great passion for gems and jewelry. So I think that's a great thing for the customer, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lighter question, similar to what we asked before, but on a lighter note, can you maybe tell me a few examples where, and this could be about some sort of a personal preference, let's say, for example, food, okay, where you both have similar preferences, and maybe an example where both of you have polar opposite views.
Yeah, I mean, it happens right in our business, Shiv. The thing is, when I got into the business, we were mostly handmade, right? I mean, we are still handmade in terms of jewelry. So when I got in, I started introducing a lot of technology, as the thing was. So even now, when I interact with the customer, I take my, I open my software, I do a quick, CAD thing, the image renders. It takes a while, right? The whole thing to happen. But then, on the other hand, my dad quickly takes up a clean sheet of paper and hand sketches a really nice, quick thing, and the customer is immediately impressed. I'm like, listen, wow, I'm giving you a more actual representation of, the design outcome. But here is something where, it is hand sketched, and I feel there are some, what do you call it, differences which we do here. Listen, why not we do this? But that still insists that, we give that personal touch where, the customer feels, because the design is born right on the table, right? Where it comes from you instead of things. So there are something there where I'm still trying to do a mix of both, where, I offer a thing. So that is some difference that I see in terms of how I handle my customer and how he handles his clientele.
It's all about a human touch. When you create something spontaneously right before the customer, giving them a sense of a story behind how a design is created, that really matters, because jewelry is all about pride of possession, how it's created. See, when you buy a house ready-made, or when you see your house getting developed, how it's being done, the interior, you really enjoy it. I think the same applies with a thing like jewelry. So I always have this passion of working closely with the design, and when we get a feedback that, look, you designed it and we enjoyed it, somebody saw it and they are admired, that is what really gives us the encouragement or things like that to go forward and build up.
Shiv, I think one thing I've kind of realized, right, after so many years, is all the differences and all the thing originates from one point, which is passion for handling this very nice gemstones thing. So as long as that it's the same common point, I think we're fine. With the differences being there, I think it keeps it a bit interesting and thing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in my opinion, I mean, I just feel that excitement in both your voices when you're talking about whether it's about the difference of opinions or whether it's, about customers or gemstones. So I think that speaks highly of the passion that you have for what you're doing.
It's a
And
healthy
that's
competition between
absolutely. And at the end of the day, again, as one of our alumni in the chat has also mentioned, the customers get the best of knowledge and the best of experience. I think that's wonderful, right? Great. I have one more question for both of you, and this is just to understand what are the future plans for the business, and how do you plan to continue and grow the family legacy?
Shiv, the main thing is, I want to concentrate in, bringing about awareness of color stones and gemstones. I feel we are still, we are getting there, but I feel we are still a market that is heavily obsessed on, just gold and diamonds, for example. But there are these, the Western market is already there, they appreciate everything, they appreciate even a piece of quartz or the really high-end diamonds. So I want that awareness to happen in our business and the general industry as such. Affordable jewelry, where we use a lot of these semi-precious gems like amethysts and garnets and peridot. They are beautiful and they look really great, and they're affordable, right? They're not as expensive as your precious gems, but a really good quality amethyst can look really great, and they look good in designer jewelry. We as a brand, we specialize in color stone jewelry, and we have always been introducing these new gemstones into our line of jewelry, into our designing. And even now, right now, the hot thing is tanzanites and morganites. They are on par with your the three big gems, right? Emerald, ruby, and sapphire. These, when you say precious and high end, these are the three gems that comes to your mind. But we, as a business, we have introduced these gems into the market, and we are making jewelry with tanzanite. We're making jewelry in morganites, opals, for example. They are not the usual jewelry that people prefer, but the young gen especially, they want these unique gems because of their color, because of the the designs that you can make out of it. So we want to have a strong presence there, where the access is there for everyone, and of course the knowledge, what they are and what they can be. So that is, we are trying to get there, in terms of business development as such. Yeah. So.
And see, at the moment, we are a single store boutique concept jewelry. We would like to stay for some more time in the same phase. But at the same time, today we see a big revolution happening in online selling of jewelry, e-commerce. Here we want to get foray into this field, giving the right product. See, today still jewelry is something which the touch and feel factor plays a role. But we want to keep one step ahead and say that, yes, you are buying from a professional gemologist jeweler, and you are buying the right product at the right price. So this is what exactly we want to build. Our platform should be built on the confidence with which the consumers buys jewelry from us. This is going to be our the basic principle behind which we want to grow our business. And yes, we have at the moment customers spread across the globe, mainly in the US, Australia. Maybe very soon we will look at the possibility of foraying into these markets, maybe in the years to come.
Well, on that exciting note, I would like to hand it back to Manisha, who may have some questions of her own, and maybe some questions from our very curious alumni to ask the both of you. Thank you both. I'm going to be here for a while, but it was a pleasure interacting with you.
Hey, thanks, Shiv. It was great. It's great interaction.
Thank you, Shiv. And what an interesting discussion that was. Very interesting. Yes, we do have a few questions for both of you all. I'll go with the first one. So one of our alum, Ms. Brijal, is asking, have you two generations felt opposite validations from clients?
Yeah. Actually, yeah. I mean, I think Dad has an incident that he would like to.
I'd like to share one incident. Here was a customer whom Yasir was trying to convince a particular design or whatever it is for more than 30 minutes. And this lady was not convinced. I was walking in.
Okay.
So it was the same design what Yasir convinced. And I convinced her in a few minutes. Then this lady, Yasir felt it a bit embarrassing, and he told this lady, ma'am, I was convincing you for 30 minutes. You didn't get convinced. And my dad came and you got convinced in 5 minutes. She said, look, you get back to your father's age, I will accept you. And then this lady went back home and she called me, Sultan, I hope your son didn't feel bad. And this is the answer. So I shared this with Yasir and my whole family, my wife, and I said, sometimes it happens.
Yeah, I think patience, right? I think patience is the key. Somewhere you have to, hands down, give its due credit to the experience, right? No matter your education background or something like that, it all comes down to experience. So I think somewhere you have to give up and admit it, and then I think things get much easier.
So I think wine, whiskey, and the jeweler, the older the better.
I sometimes have to force myself to keep a beard, Purva, so that I
Sure.
Interesting, very interesting. And I'm sure it must be, Yasir, I can understand how you must be feeling when it goes in favor of senior Sultan sir and
all the time.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go to the next question. The next one is, which is the most notable jewelry piece that you've observed? This is for both of you.
I think we've received a lot of antique Cartier pieces, and which has come in for refurbishment and things. So when we receive such pieces and when we get to work on them, it feels really special for us, because Cartier, it's a very big brand, and sometimes we have to, of course, take extra care, though it is not a piece. When we get entrusted with such pieces, I remember working on a really nice pendant which had some very nice sapphires, and I wish I could share the image with you, but that is something very special to me when I received this piece, and I had to do a minor refurbishment on it so that it is a very wearable piece.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Manisha, apart from our jewelry business, we are having an institute called Madras Gem Institute, which is the first of its kind in South India. We started in 1980. I started in 1986,
Right.
and we are central government approved valuers.
Hmm.
So this gives us an opportunity
Hmm.
to come across, see, evaluate heirloom jewelry from some old families, royal families, and even I had the opportunity to evaluate temple jewelries in South India.
Nice.
Dominated in the thing. So this has made me come across a wide range of exquisite jewelry
Right.
from the entire South region, like Kerala, Karnataka, which are some of the finest jewelries in personal holdings, in trusts, and temples.
Very interesting. Yeah.
And also to see our own, as a jeweler who have just joined, to see our own jewelry. Sometimes the customer brings in a piece. Yasir, listen, I just want you to see this piece, what your dad made 20 years ago, when you were probably a school kid. See how nice it is and things. I think it is, you really feel nice when you see such pieces, coming back, and, just to the customer still holding on to it in a special way.
Yeah. And it's an emotional attachment also for them with that piece of jewelry, right? And for you all, a different feeling altogether, because it's your own jewelry coming to you. Very nice. Right. Moving to the next one. What is that one edge that, this is a question from Feroza. She's asking, what is that one edge that made you succeed in a traditional family jewelry market, which is so prominent in Chennai?
One edge was my professional background. Being a first generation entrepreneur, it would have been very tough for me to penetrate this family-run business thing. And particularly, in 1980s, it was a tough thing to get into this jewelry business.
True.
And no doubt, I should say, my professional expertise, which I got from the GIA, is the very first step towards my successful career. No doubt about it. I fully agree with it, and I feel proud of it.
Great.
Even for a young, entrepreneur like me, anyone, for getting into the business, right? I think right now, of course, experience, everything matters. Right now, a formal education has become a must, has become mandatory for everyone to have, because right now the customer is walking in with, already, a lot of questions in mind. They are already exposed to everything. And when they pose questions to us, and, education helps us be in a better position to, answer back. And when you give them the confident answers they need, the sales become easier.
Yeah. They're convinced with.
Yeah. So it's like, a formal education is like a springboard, because right now, the setup that we have, I don't think most of the family run businesses have such a background where, only the young gen is, trying to think, where the older generation is only excelling through the experience and everything. So I feel the young gen should have a formal education to equip themselves with the latest, developments in the industry, because every day it's changing. Every day there's something new coming into the market, be it treatments or be it products or be it things. So it's a must now,
you should be on the top of it. Yeah, correct. Thank you. Great. We'll go to the next one. There is an Alam Pankuri who wishes to know about your experience in international market. And of course, she mentioned that she would like to connect with you all for the same.
See, working with IGC, I think I really got the discipline, because this was a proper Flemish brand. They were a local Belgian group, 100 years company, and they used to make these precision thing to supply to the highly fashion conscious European brands. And, everything is originating from Europe. So I was, I was supplying orders, preparing things. And, they would reject even if it is like a 0.00 variation in the stone, in the gem, in the diamond. Because these were going into high-end watches and high-end jewelry. So the way they were really specific about sending their requirements and sending they want, I think the whole thing was very interesting, and that's what made me stay back for 5 years. The whole challenge of fulfilling these demands, and also the pride of working for such big brands. That was something, and even when I got back, because we make one of its kind jewelry. When we create jewelry, we don't mass produce jewelry, so we make color stones. So I was able to apply all those precisions and quality control, when we do it. And customer walked into our store expecting that now. They know what they are coming for. So that has helped me a lot in giving me that confidence and giving me that thing to handle the business.
Yeah. And this would really set this business apart from a lot others, because this is a very important parameter. Great. The next question is from Brijal, who says, who's asking, what are the challenges even after reaching this success? Have you been
every day is a challenge. Every day
I'd like to just say one thing: keep bettering your best.
Yeah.
True. Very true. That's a very important piece.
Every day, every customer is different. They pose different. Every sale poses different challenges. There are some moments that I have to fall back and ask him what to do. I think that's sometimes he has to step in where that experience matters. So every day is a challenge. Every day, I think you should be open to learning. I don't think there's ever a thing where listen, you've got there, it's time for you to relax. I don't think, I mean, even for him, I don't think it's the same case.
I'm sure even he is not relaxing. He is also there, actively part of the business and handling clients. That's when you're getting worried that I hope he says the same things as I am saying.
Exactly.
Right. But that's very important piece of advice and very true. So well said that we learn every day. Right. We have the next question from Rajesh. He's asking, what should we do to promote more of gemstones? Will value-conscious Indians go for gemstones?
See, it is, first thing is awareness. As a jeweler, first I should appreciate a gemstone. And then I should disseminate this information to my customer. And I think that's not happening in India, not to the extent to which it should happen. If this happens, the value for gemstones automatically go up. That's not happening, I can say. See, that's the reason why there's a general perception that gemstones don't have value.
Right.
Which is wrong. Every gemstone, a natural gemstone, has its own value. Be it a less expensive variety or a high, each has its beauty of its own.
Right.
If you appreciate it and make it appreciate in the eyes of the consumer, that is the day the perception of buying a gem will change.
True.
And I think that onus falls on the jeweler.
And I think also as an industry as a whole, right? See, for diamonds, there's something called, there's DTC, there's De Beers, who does all the, the fancy promotions and the branding, and also for gold. But there is a lack of the same happening for color stones. And I think as the trade as a whole, as a council as a whole, I think we should take the responsibility, in promoting these gemstones as well, so that people get the confidence when it happens as a whole, happens as a whole trade.
Yeah, the trade body, or there are some trade initiatives which are talking about gemstones also as part of your jewelry. Very right.
I think, Manisha, this is happening now from the side of an institution like GIA. I quite frequently see GIA brings out a lot of promotional things, educative promotional things for various varieties of gemstones. I could see from the print journals and things like that, which is a real welcome thing, because many of the jewelers, maybe not in the metropolitan cities, the smaller towns, they keep seeing this, reading this. And this builds the awareness. And I think this is a welcome move, what GIA is doing it. I've been following this in the recent years.
Sure. Thank you so much. And you're right, it is helping a lot of people in the trade, not only to educate themselves who are a part of the business, but also educating their clientele. So yes, this goes a long way. Right. We have the next question from Karan. He's asking, which is your favorite colored stone and what attracts you to it the most?
My favorite stone recently, for the last few years, has been the Paraiba tourmaline, which is very rare. Really a beautiful gemstone. And wherever I see in my shows the exclusive stones, I just had a few minutes to enjoy and love seeing it. This has been my favorite stone, followed by, of course, the tanzanites. And but my favorite stone has always been the top three: ruby, sapphires, and emeralds.
Nice.
Manisha, for me, it keeps changing, Manisha. The minute I see something, a nice green emerald is my favorite stone for the day. Tomorrow, the next day, when I come across a nice top ruby, listen, nothing like ruby. I want myself to make a nice ruby.
Yes, you are truly the next generation.
I think, I mean, for me, I don't think it is fair for me to pick it, because it really keeps changing. But yeah, the new gems, morganite, for example, it has a really nice pink to it, very nice luster, almost diamond-like luster, with morganites, very subtle, very beautiful pink, looks great with diamonds. Yeah, a lot of these new gems are coming into the market, which really looks great in jewelry. So
Right. After the recent news, I think today or yesterday, there's this ruby going to be
Yes.
auctioned at probably the largest price
Largest.
ever.
Yes.
So probably that becomes your next favorite, Yasir.
You see, I'm in a safer position now.
And it's a beautiful red color, so I'm sure. Great. I get that. And why not? Why not have multiple favorites? There are new stones coming every day. There are such beautiful stones there, which could be part of our lives, our jewelry. So why not like quite a few of them? Right. Moving on to the next question. That's from Feroza. She's asking, going forward, do you see a bigger scope for machine-made jewelry over the handmade jewelry that has dominated jewelry making, especially in Chennai?
Yes, I think it tends to happen. The jewelry whole process of manufacturing jewelry is going to move from handmade to machine-made jewelry, the mass-produced, like with the CAD process, which is inevitable, I should say. On one side, we don't get a steady supply of skilled manpower, which is there in every industry, and our industry also faces the same issue. And next is with large format stores, multi chain stores of jewelry, they need to be supplied with a constant thing of large quantities of jewelry. And that is what makes machine-made jewelry grow faster. But I would say that we still go by handmade. We have incorporated machine-made to the extent of about 30-40%. But still, our personal jewelry, which is made in our shop, is still 60% is handmade.
Nice.
Yeah. When it comes to one-of-a-kind pieces, it is still, even the big brands, I think it's all handmade. Probably it's semi-automated. So like Dad said, I feel effort should be taken in preserving this whole industry, right? This hand karigars and craftsmanship. I think they should be protected, and I don't think this art should be made to go away. Though there's a big competition, probably incorporate them into the system where they bring in their expertise and assisted by the machine to do this. So yeah.
True. That's very important. The Indian craftsmanship, or rather the craftsmanship in jewelry, is something very unique. There are so many styles. So I absolutely agree. All of us would agree that we should preserve these different craftsmanships and protect them also. So yes, I think there are quite a few comments also. I would first like to cover all the questions that we are seeing in the chat. There is a question from Preetam, who says, I'm interested to know, have you meet a same platform person, that is jewelry, then have you sold a gem piece, and from there, how did that conversation have gone? What was an experience that you've got? I believe what he means to say is probably from the same field that you met someone and sold a gem piece and jewelry, if I had to summarize that question.
Yeah, yes, I understand. Probably what he means is probably, have we sold a gem piece to a person from the same field? It has happened, Manisha, for us. I have met gemologists, jewelers during my shows. And many a times it has happened that either we have bought or we have sold pieces from them. And this has happened. Even recently we have did, and in the past I have met people in the UK, in Hong Kong show, or even in Jaipur. I have met my friends who are gemologists and jewelers. And if we see something interesting, a gemstone or something, we buy it and we process it. And it has happened many a times, Manisha.
Right. Nice. How about you, Yasir? You've come across this?
Yeah, we have. We are in a B2B setup as well, where so we of course we have done this.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So and the trust factor comes very easily in there when it's the same field. Yeah. Nice. The next question is from Richa Goyal Sikri, who wishes to know, do you see demand for jewelry softening in 2023? Is there a new jewelry category or style that has emerged in the last 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I think there are new, in terms of jewelry designs and jewelry, there are new metals that are coming into thing. One thing that I've seen abroad is jewelry made in titanium, and you know, all these palladium and all these lesser known metals. You know, in a whole affordability standpoint, where you know, this is happening. So even in wood, for example, you know, I've seen some really nice jewelry, some really nice gemstones studded in wood, you know, be it ring or bangles or something like that. Yeah. So I feel that will eventually happen in India as well, where the whole with the competition there, you know, which is happening, and the price points that we are seeing, I feel such metals are going to come into play. See, many years ago, people were only looking at 22 karat or, you know, things, but now people are okay with 14 and 10 karat jewelry. You know, in terms of, especially even in Chennai, for example, we were a very conscious market, and now we are okay with, you know, 18 karat and even 14 karat, for example. So I feel that shift is happening, and as jewelers, I think we should be in a position to, you know, handle this demand and, you know, make it more accessible to our population, you know, to our people as well.
Right. So all geared up for,
yeah, exactly. I think personally, I would see such jewelry in my line as well, you know, besides gold and silver and platinum. Yeah.
Great. Very nice. Yes. The next question is from Mr. Ganesh Supaya. How do you think you will evolve your family business to make it attractive for your future generations to step in?
Hello, sir. I think Mr. Ganesh is a very good
He's from Chennai.
part of a chapter governing.
Yes.
I'm glad they're here and listening to us. So, like I said, I think make jewelry affordable. At the same time, give them quality, right? The minute when we say affordable, the word which is, you know, thing is we compromise on quality or something. But I don't want that to happen. Give them these really nice, good-looking gemstones. Make it more, you know, accessible to you know, everyone, right? Where the minute when we say color stone, it's a very expensive thing, but we can design a color stone jewelry as low as 10,000 rupees, you know, 8 to 10,000 rupees. So that is something that I want to do to develop, you know, our business, you know, personally, our business, where I think that whole perception I want to change, where designer jewelry means expensive jewelry. I don't think that's the case. I think we can, that's something that I would like to work on and, you know, have it done in our store, for example.
Right. And I believe that's where the new metals or the new materials,
exactly.
All that will also play a very important role.
Yeah. Exclusivity, right? Nowadays, the whole world, everyone wants exclusivity.
Absolutely. Yeah. And innovation is the order. Right. Great. I believe we have we've kind of covered all the questions, but I would also like to go through the comments, few of our alumni. Shiv, am I missing on a question?
Yeah. Richa also asked, what are your views on, she says, she asked, do you see demand for jewelry softening in 2023?
I would not accept this. The demand is always there, sir. I would say that the per capita consumption might go down, but then jewelry buying will not stop. It is for us to understand where is the demand. If that understanding comes, I think sale will automatically come. And I will not agree with the point that the jewelry demand will come down, because maybe if you look at one segment, the solid gold segment, yes, because of the high cost of gold, that particular segment, the per capita consumption can come down. But then you have a whole area of jewelry, right? From silver jewelry to gemstones to beads. It's a wide range. At the end of the day, it is for us, the jewelry industry, to understand where the thrust can happen and where the thrust should happen. And if you look at a particular segment, yes, it can be a softening, but not across the range of jewelry which is being sold.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I believe with this, we are at the end of the questions, but I would really want to read out a few comments that our alums have made. So Akshay Podar from Kolkata chapter, he's mentioned that it is nice hearing you both. See you around in Chennai when I visit, or in my city of joy, Kolkata. Akshay Podar from Shambajo Jewelers. He's also part of the Kolkata chapter committee. Rita has mentioned that I think this was for Sultan sir when he was talking about his favorite gemstone. So she's written that spoken like a true gem addict, Mozambique ruby. Okay. And Rajesh has mentioned that, sir, you can arrange for a visit to your showroom for all GI alumni. That he's asked this question. So
yeah, we are in Chennai. We are on TTK Road. Most welcome. I'm part of the Chennai alumni chapter as well. So we'll be happy to collect and host you on. Of course, the museum as well. You all can see the museum with the different types of gemstones.
Yeah, and that'll be really interesting. I had missed it last time, and I would also like to see the museum. Great. And Rajesh also mentions that we'll be greatly inspired to do more gemstone business. Feroza's mentioned about we should preserve our handmade jewelry legacy forever, like you were mentioning, Yasir. Yes, and we are at the end of the questions and all the compliments that are coming your way. We had a wonderful session. This was really interesting, engaging, and we could see two generations talking and how they have, accepted, rather I would say they love the differences and come together and be a part of this legacy. Very interesting. I just have, it's a little tricky question. I have one last question for both of you.
Letting us so far we have
actually Manisha, there are a couple more questions from alumni as well. So we is it okay if we take that first?
Oh, sure. Did I miss those?
No, it's okay. So Swarupa asks, for an aspiring jewelry designer to launch his or her brand, what are the other knowledge or courses necessary apart from, say, manual designing and CAD/CAM?
I think apart from the designing, as a professional designer, you need to know about gems too.
Yeah, a basic knowledge on
gems. And this will surely help an upcoming startup in jewelry, because many a times we come across professional designers designing beautiful pieces of jewelry, but at the end of the day, those designs, the present day availability of gems cannot be incorporated. So I get to see a lot of designers approaching me in Chennai, and they face this problem. We advise them. This is purely, we do it as a, as a free service, and I would like to help designers. So they reach me out and I teach them. I tell them that you create a design based on what is available. Sometimes you design a beautiful piece of jewelry and you don't get those stones. In gemology, in gemstone studded jewelry, that's the most important aspect.
And also just to have a basic knowledge on, just the hardness of a gem, right? For example, because not every gem can be suitable for being fitted on in a jewelry. For example, a gem like fluorite, right? It looks really great with all the banding, but it's a very soft gem. To designing it and to fitting it, you need to have that thing to how to use it, right? So I feel along with the design thing, a basic gem knowledge will be really nice. Sometimes there are gems which give you the play of color, right? Different.
Yeah.
So how you can use that phenomena to, in your designing, So that will be very useful when you have background.
True. And gem knowledge is, yeah, you very well said. It's very important. And then there could be a lot of experimentation and innovation with a lot of gemstones, since you're aware, since you have that knowledge, right? Shiv,
One more.
yeah.
I think there is one more. This is one of the questions that we generally get asked in almost every legacy of leadership series. So the question is, what do you think about resale value of CVD?
CVD.
See, I quite frequently these days see ads of resale value of CVD. As a gemologist, personally, I don't agree with the resale value of CVD. Any synthetic gem, man-made, there is no demand and supply. When the demand goes up, there is always the manufacturer who increases the supply. So I think it is not right on the part of the jewelry industry, I mean, a jeweler, to say that there is a resale value on CVD. Because obviously what's going to happen in the years to come is, surely the demand will go up. Along with the demand, I'm sure the manufacturer will take advantage to produce more, which is not at all possible with natural gems. So here there's a clear difference between the demand and supply vis-a-vis natural and synthetic, man-made gem, whichever gem it is, be it CVD or whatever it is. I think as a ethical jeweler, we have to be very careful. I put the word very cautious in putting the term resale value.
Right.
Interesting. Thank you. Sorry, there are more questions coming in. So there is one more question, and we could probably take this as the last. So thank you for all the questions that has come in. Another question from Preetham is, this might be an interesting one. What was the most precious jewelry that you have sold, and how hard was it? And he also has a comment. He's saying, I would be happy to see your collection.
First is Shiv, you're most they are most welcome to visit us. We are in Chennai, they can locate us easily. And the second is, during this last 30 years, we have done quite a lot of, interesting pieces, high valued, and some of our precious stone jewelry, which we have done in the past with Burmese rubies or sapphires, have been the most valuable pieces which we have done in terms of value as well as in terms of the uniqueness of the pieces. Quite a few pieces we have done in the last 15 to 20 years, mostly with color stones. Mostly with colored gemstones incorporating diamonds.
Nice.
We have done it.
Shiv, for me, I don't, if I have to pick like a really special, if it is special jewelry that you're asking for, I really wouldn't put a value to it, because for me, I feel whether it is a jewelry which is 50,000 or whether it is 50 lakhs. So I look at it as a piece, and I think there is no value to it as it's a piece. For the person who I'm selling it to, it's valuable. Whether it is a lesser price or a more valuable thing, as a piece, you really can't put a price to it. In terms of value as such.
True.
Yeah.
And the difficulty part you already mentioned, Yasir, that when you almost convinced them, and when Sultan sir comes in, then and they have that discussion all over, and
Still happens every day, almost.
True. So I'm sure that's the challenging part, and not for Sultan sir, but that's probably only for you, because he is all there. So but like you said, we are learning every day.
It's not a complaint. I'm happy
Absolutely.
that like that to fall back to make the sale happen.
I'm sure. Okay. Right. Shiv, any more questions?
No, I think that has been all.
Shiv, I want to, basically, we had a small issue in the beginning, 5-10 minutes delay. I apologize for it. I know GIA is very strict with Tadi, giving Tadi for coming late. But I'm sorry for that. But I think the setup was much better. I was much more confident having him next to me.
Absolutely.
That statement that you made, Yasir, I think that is not just applies to this, it just applies to him being next to you in the business as well. So that was an amazing session. I think more questions would just kind of keep coming in. So for now, thank you so much for your time. I would like to see if Apurva sir, Ram sir, if you have any comments that you would want to make.
Shiv, I first of all thank you for giving me an opportunity to say a few things. I started writing my notes. I went to one page and then I picked up my second page, and then I started writing questions. Okay, so if I have to go through all of it, we might need another hour and a half from both of you. Folks, I must say this was an outstanding session. They call it pearls of wisdom today. It seemed to be pouring emeralds, rubies, and sapphires of wisdom. And we truly thank you for being here in this particular session. Legacy of leadership. I mean, you are an ideal duo. I mean, you hail from a family that has legacy in education. You go back 30, no, 40 years, right? Even as GIA alumni, and Yasir as recent as maybe 15 years. Right? And fact that you're continuing to give, right, to the industry, through GIA, through the Alumni Association, all of that, right, makes you just the ideal duo for this topic called the legacy of leadership. So I want to sincerely thank you all. I want to thank every one of the attendees. None of them left, and everybody is just. I don't think anybody feels like leaving today. Yeah? Yes. So thank you. I'll turn it over to Apurva. Thank you.
Thanks to GIA for the opportunity to reach out to all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Ram.
I knew I was following it up. I didn't know it was a surprise for me that Sriram sir was also part of this.
Oh, yes.
It's a great moment for us. And thank you, Sriram sir, and your Apurva sir, and the entire team.
Sure. There was one thing I actually wanted to mention in the introduction, and I think it's only appropriate that I mention it now. I'm trying to sum up one thing which the first time I met Sultan sir, something that really made an impact was in times as early as 1982. He found out about an institute which teaches about a practice which is not an established practice at all in those days. And imagine, see, today we are in the times of WhatsApp and email and text and video calls. Those were the times of snail mail. So you find the postal address of an institute, you send a letter, and then you hope that it reaches there. Then you hope that they open it, they answer it, and then there is another series of hope that it actually the reply reaches you. And oh my goodness, it is that level of patience, that level of commitment is really amazing. And sir, particularly talking about you, you also come from a non-jewelry background. Your ancestors, your family has been in timber business, and coming from that background and making an impact here, having that conviction. I mean, I don't know. I'm really short of words to really describe those. All these factors that I can sense. And hats off to you. Thanks for being our guest today. And every time there is an opportunity for us to make these pearls of wisdom available also to our students at the campus. We will
always happy to
rope you in. Yeah, we will rope you in. please be our guest at that time too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Shiv, Manisha, Ram, everyone, for being with us and listening to us. And,
Oh, yes, yes. It was a
It
pleasure.
was a pleasure. It was such a treat. It was really interesting. And I'm sure all our alumni also enjoyed. Thanks for taking out that time. I know it is a lot of time. We did a session earlier also, and now the final session. So I know you all have a busy schedule, and still you took out time to do this. Really sincere thanks to you all.
Yeah.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Sriram. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you everyone for joining in.
Thanks, Shiv.